Went to the wrong wedding and found the love of my life. I was supposed to be at the Riverside Hotel at 2 p.m. for my college roommate Nathan's wedding. Instead, I walked into the Grand Ashford Estate because my GPS had other plans, and I wasn't paying attention. Both venues were hosting weddings that Saturday. Both had similar ballroom names. Both had guests arriving around the same time. I realized my mistake approximately 15 seconds after I sat down. The program in my hand said, "Celebrating the union of Victoria and James." My roommate was Nathan, marrying someone named Allison. I looked around, didn't recognize a single face. The smart thing would have been to stand up immediately and leave. Instead, I froze. An older woman in a lavender dress sat down next to me and smiled. Bride or groom's side, my mouth opened. Nothing came out. Then somehow I heard myself say, "Groom's side, old friend from work." The lie came out so smoothly I almost believed it myself. "How wonderful," she said. "I'm Victoria's aunt, Patricia. I don't think we've met. I'm Derek. I worked with James a few years back." Patricia launched into a story about how Victoria and James met, and I nodded along while planning my exit strategy. I'd wait until the ceremony started, then slip out during the vows. Then she walked in. The woman who would ruin my entire plan and eventually my entire life in the best possible way. She was late, clearly flustered, wearing a blue dress that looked hastily chosen. Her dark hair was pulled back in a way that suggested she'd done it in the car. She scanned the room frantically, looking for a seat. Her eyes landed on the empty chair beside me. She hurried over and sat down just as the music started. "Thank you," she whispered. "This day has been a disaster." I nodded, trying to figure out if she was actually supposed to be at this wedding or if she was another lost soul like me. Patricia leaned forward. "Hello, dear. I'm Patricia, Victoria's aunt. Are you with the bride or groom?" The woman's eyes went wide for just a fraction of a second. "Groom's side. Old friend." The exact same lie I'd told. Patricia beamed. "How lovely. This is Derek. He also knows James from work." The woman looked at me. I looked at her. We both knew. We were both at the wrong wedding. The ceremony began, and we sat there in mutual silent panic. I could see her gripping the program so tightly it was wrinkling. Her leg bounced nervously. We were trapped. Getting up now would draw attention. It felt easier to just sit through it and leave during the reception. Except, the ceremony was beautiful. Victoria cried during her vows. James's voice cracked when he said, "I do." The woman next to me let out a small, almost silent laugh. I glanced at her, and she was shaking her head, her hand covering her mouth. After the ceremony, everyone started moving toward the cocktail hour. The woman grabbed my arm. "We need to leave right now." Agreed. Patricia appeared beside us. "You two should come take photos with the wedding party." "Oh, we couldn't possibly." "Nonsense. Come along." We found ourselves being pushed into a group of about 30 people lining up for photos. The photographer took several shots. Somewhere in the future, Victoria and James would look at their wedding album and see two complete strangers. After the photos, we finally managed to slip away from Patricia. "I'm Natalie," she said, "and I'm supposed to be at a wedding at the Riverside Hotel right now." "Derek." "Same. My college roommate Nathan is getting married, and I'm at the wrong venue entirely." She laughed, a real laugh that made her eyes crinkle. "How did you end up staying?" I panicked and told Victoria's aunt I was an old friend of the groom. Then I couldn't figure out how to leave without looking insane. I did the exact same thing, the exact same lie. We stood there grinning at each other like idiots. "We should definitely leave now," Natalie said. "Absolutely. Right now." Neither of us moved. "Although," she continued, "I'm kind of starving, and I saw they're serving appetizers. It would be rude to waste food. And we're already here. We've already committed to the lie." "Exactly. We might as well eat." We walked into the cocktail hour together. The appetizers were incredible. Shrimp cocktail, bacon-wrapped dates, tiny beef Wellingtons. Natalie and I stationed ourselves near the bar and created an elaborate game of trying to blend in while avoiding anyone who might ask detailed questions. "There's Patricia at 3 o'clock, Natalie whispered. "Abort. Move to the appetizer table." A man in a gray suit approached us. "Hey, how do you know the couple?" "Groom's side. Old work friends," I said automatically. "Oh, nice. Which company?" My mind went blank. Natalie jumped in. "The consulting firm downtown. We all work together on the Morrison account." The man nodded and launched into a story. We escaped after 5 minutes. "The Morrison account?" I asked. First thing that came to mind. "Are you always this bad under pressure? Are you always this good at lying?" She grinned. "Only at strangers' weddings, apparently." We found a corner table. Around us, real guests mingled and celebrated. We were interlopers, wedding crashers by accident, and somehow it was the most fun I'd had in months. "So why were you late to Nathan's wedding?" I asked. "Flat tire on the highway. By the time I changed it, I was running 40 minutes behind. I just rushed to the first venue address without double-checking." She paused. "You?" I blindly followed GPS and didn't look up until I was parked. Walked into the first ballroom I saw. "We're both idiots. Complete idiots." She laughed again. I was starting to really like the sound of her laugh. We stayed for the full reception. Dinner was plated salmon better than anything I'd eaten in months. We were seated with other work friends of the groom, making up elaborate stories about our fictional time at the consulting firm. When the dancing started, we retreated to our corner table and watched. "They seem really in love," Natalie said. "Yeah, they do. Do you think they'd be mad if they knew we were here?" "I think they'd probably laugh or be very confused. Maybe both. The DJ played a slow song. Couples paired off and swayed together. Do you want to dance? I asked. She looked surprised. At a stranger's wedding? We've come this far. Might as well commit fully to the insanity. She stood up and held out her hand. Okay, but if we get caught and thrown out, I'm blaming you. We walked onto the dance floor. I put my hand on her waist. She rested her hand on my shoulder. This is the weirdest first date I've ever been on, Natalie said. Is this a date? I don't know. What else would you call this? A series of increasingly poor decisions? She laughed and rested her head briefly on my shoulder. By 9 p.m., we'd been at the wrong wedding for 7 hours. I'd missed Nathan's entire wedding. My phone had 6 missed calls and a text. Where are you? We're the worst wedding guests in history, Natalie said. We didn't even go to the right weddings. Should we leave now? Finally, she looked around at the fairy lights and the happy couples. Yeah, we probably should. We made it to the hallway before Patricia intercepted us. Leaving so soon? We have an early morning, I said. Work thing. Patricia pulled both of us into unexpected hugs. You make such a sweet couple. Oh, we're not, Natalie started. Just friends, I finished. Patricia winked like she didn't believe us, then headed back inside. We escaped to the parking lot and stood under the night sky. So, Natalie said. So, I echoed. That happened. We stood there, awkwardly. I should probably get going, Natalie said. Try to come up with an excuse for missing my friend's wedding entirely. Yeah, same. Neither of us moved. Then Natalie pulled out her phone. Can I get your number? In case I need someone to corroborate my story about the flat tire? I gave her my number. She texted me immediately. The text said, evidence we're both insane. I laughed. Drive safe, wedding crasher. You too. I watched her walk to her car. She turned back once and waved. I waved back. When I got home, I had a text from her. Did you survive Nathan's wrath? Barely. You? I told my friend I had a family emergency. I'm going to hell. We're both going to hell. At least we'll know someone there. We texted for 2 hours. At midnight, she sent, this is crazy, but I had more fun at the wrong wedding than I probably would have had at the right one. Same. We should probably never speak of this again. Probably. But maybe we could get coffee sometime? At a place we're actually supposed to be? Yes. Definitely, yes. We met for coffee the next Saturday, then dinner the week after, then a movie. Then somehow, we were spending every weekend together. 3 months later, Natalie tracked down Victoria and James on social media. I found their registry and sent them a gift. Wine glasses with an anonymous note apologizing for crashing their wedding. Did they respond? She showed me the messages. Victoria had written, this is the best wedding crasher story I've ever heard. You're both invited to our first anniversary party. 6 months after the wrong wedding. Natalie looked at me across the table at dinner. I've been thinking about something. What? Do you believe in fate? Things happening for a reason? I don't know. Maybe. Why? Because I was supposed to be at a different wedding that day. You were supposed to be at a different wedding. We both made the same mistake at the same time and ended up in the same place. I don't think that was an accident. I reached across the table and took her hand. You think the universe wanted us to crash a stranger's wedding together? I think the universe wanted us to meet, and it had to get creative. So you're saying our relationship is built on lies and wedding crashing? I'm saying our relationship is built on being in the right place at the wrong time. 1 year later, we attended Victoria and James's anniversary party. The legendary wedding crashers. Victoria pulled us into hugs. We've been dying to meet you properly. We're so sorry about last year, Natalie said. Are you kidding? You made our wedding memorable. Plus, you're in our wedding album forever. 2 years after the wrong wedding, I proposed to Natalie. We were at the Grand Ashford estate, standing in the parking lot where we'd said goodbye that first night. You're proposing in a parking lot? Parking, she asked, laughing and crying. I'm proposing at the place where we met, where we stopped being wedding crashers and started being something else. She kissed me. Yes. Obviously, yes. We got married the next spring. During my vows, I told the story of the wrong wedding, about walking into the wrong venue, sitting in the wrong seat, and meeting exactly the right person. Natalie talked about fate and wrong turns, and how sometimes the best things happen when your GPS fails, and you make terrible decisions that turn out to be the best decision you ever made. After the ceremony, we danced to the same song that had played at Victoria and James's wedding. Do you ever think about what would have happened if one of us had left? Natalie asked. Every day, and I'm grateful we were both too awkward to make the smart choice. She laughed and rested her head on my shoulder. Me too. Later, someone asked how we met. Natalie and I exchanged a look and said together, we went to the wrong wedding.